Okay, moving right along, we have Kurt Busch. He's joined us. He's the driver of the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge for Penske Racing. He's currently 10th in points. He's got 2 victories on this season. And Kurt, I'm going to ask you, this is your last race driving the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge. That car has been very, very good to you, and vice versa. You've been great to that car. So your thoughts about that, perhaps?
Yeah, it's been a great run. It's tough to see it come to an end driving the Blue Deuce, but you know it's been a privilege to drive the car and to carry on the legacy that Rusty Wallace had started. And just when I was beginning to feel comfortable in the shoes that he had left me, we had to make a change. And when a sponsor requests to have you drive their car, it's really a unique opportunity with Shell Pennzoil coming aboard and requesting me to drive their car. And it's really neat to have a sponsor want you in this day and age and to go out there and try to compete for wins, championships, the whole deal. That's what we have to go and do, and I hope that we can start off next year strong down in Daytona. But it's been a great ride with the Blue Deuce. Bunch of wins. I think the biggest highlight of my 5-year stint driving the car was probably winning the All-Star race this year and backing it up with the Coke 600. And as they say, all good things must come to an end, and it's been a great group to work with out in Milwaukee, and great friendships, good people, and got enough of the contacts to still get some beer delivered to the house, so that'll work out pretty good as well. But it's been a good ride, and here we are at Homestead, looking to finish off this season strong. We've got a program that we're working on the last few weeks to try to work towards the future in 2011 with what we're doing these past few weeks to try to get the car sorted out and give us a better direction during the off season. So looking forward to a good solid run and just science out what we've got to do to make the cars a little better at Penske Racing.
Okay, we'll take questions now. We'll start with Dave. Raise your hand, and then we'll go to Brian. Go ahead, Dave. No, right here.
Yeah, Dave Robin with NASCAR.com. Kurt, if you look back to what was probably the best chase finale up till this one in 2004, what are these 3 guys who were in contention? What do they faced emotionally on Sunday? And if you had to pick a favorite, who would it be?
Yeah, there's definitely the atmosphere of what the chase was supposed to be all about is right here unfolding in front of us. And 2004 was a storybook as far as how the storybook ending on as far as how you write the chase. And so these guys are definitely feeling the pressure. Every lap that you make out on the track in practice, the intense focus is there. And those 3 guys are just worrying themselves to death. It's just part of the nature of how you go into the chase, basically where it's heads up. I mean, if Hamlin finishes in front of the 48, he's the champion. If the 48 finishes in front of the 11, he's the champion. Basically, the way that I raced it back in 04, I didn't care that I had an 18-point lead. I just said I had to finish ahead of those guys and beat them heads up. And as luck turned out, we needed those 18 points because Johnson finished second and we were 5th in that race. So those guys are racing each other heads up, and Harvick's got nothing to lose. He's just going for broke because he can't even finish worse than 3rd in points. So it's interesting to see all the 3 of them going at it. If I had to pick a favorite, I would go with Hamlin. His car, his team has just had more raw speed than the rest of the group.
Let's go with Brian, Reed, and Lewis. Go ahead.
Kurt, Brian Nelson, Motor Racing Network. Next weekend, after the season's over with, you'll be kind of spending some time at Rockingham for that holiday weekend race. How do you, why is it that you enjoy getting away and doing even more racing when you're going to be away from your Cup stuff? And then what about racing at Rockingham again?
Yes, us race car drivers, we're crazy on how long the season is and how we look forward to the end of the year. And then the first thing we go and do is jump back in a race car. I'm just excited to go and just have fun. It's that grassroots feel of when I first started racing in street stock back in 1996 is what I'm looking forward to. Just go out there, just kind of rough it, just go out there, slam some springs around, change the sway bars, just kind of get dirty and jump in the mix with all the great street stock racers that have come to compete in this big Polar Bear 150, and to do it at Rockingham. I mean, we're taking street stock cars that aren't supposed to be going on half-mile racetracks, and we're going to a mile racetrack with it. And I hear it's real close to wide open all the way around. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. My group of guys, I only have one full-time employee that works on cars for me, and bunch of volunteers. It reminds me of the old school days when you just go out there and have some fun with it.
Okay, we're going to go Reed, Lewis, Brian. Go.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Kurt, to follow up on something you said earlier, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing had a breakout year this year. Richard Childress Racing had a big turnaround from last year. Is it possible for Penske Racing to be that team in 2011 as an entire organization?
Yeah, we hope that we find the right tools necessary to find the speed that we need. And, yeah, we're competitive, but we need to be better. And right now it's just a process of working around the clock to find different chassis designs, chassis setups, aerodynamic changes, you name it. We're searching high and low. And with us being as competitive as we were this year and winning a couple races, there still just felt like we weren't where we needed to be in the chase. So it's been a tough chase, but overall, just the improvements made in just these past few weeks, it gives us that indication that, yeah, next year could be a breakout year.
Let's go Brian and then Bruce. I'm sorry, Lewis, and then Bruce. My bad. Lewis and then Bruce.
Lewis Frank, Reuters. Kurt, you added a teammate this year in Brad Keselowski, and I was wondering what you did to help him, and did he help you this year?
Yeah, it was great to work with Brad. He's got that youthful exuberance to where he's just on the gas all the time, and he was very focused on his nationwide program, and it's great to see him put that all together and put together a championship effort. And I congratulate him and our group on what they've done and what they accomplished. We just now need to get him into the Cup car in that same mindset where he's just completely focused on it, and that we get him faster and faster with the more experience that he gains. So it was nice to work with him and see what he thinks about certain racetracks and how he approaches things, because anytime that you have a stronger teammate, it just makes the whole program better. And so I'm really looking forward to him feeling more comfortable in his second season. That way we can definitely start leaning on each other harder and competing where that 2 car, he'll be in the 2 next year, I'll be in the 22, where we're racing each other hard every week, pushing each other harder. Right now it's been where we've had a pretty solid run and they've been struggling a little bit.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Bruce Meyer with SI.com. You're one of only 2 drivers since the chase started that it's beat Jimmy Johnson for a title. So basically, what's your secret? And maybe Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick should be coming up to you to ask you what that secret is.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, 2004 was a storybook, perfect Hollywood ending with the way that our season went and how it came down here to the final race. And my approach, like I was telling you guys earlier, I think that those guys need to race each other heads up. You can't expect to finish a couple spots behind and hang on to the championship. You're going to have to race them heads up. That's the way I approached it. And we even got the opportunity when things unfolded for us in our championship run that afternoon was when we pitted with Johnson. They were the target. No matter what they did, we did. And that's the approach and advice that I'd give to the guys competing against them.
Any other questions for Kurt? Gary Long has one right here, please.
Gary Long, Miami Herald. Kurt, how often do you ponder whether that wheel had rolled onto pit road or stayed on the racetrack when you lost it? How often do you think about that?
It's amazing how that whole day unfolded for us, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And the way that all worked out, I can't remember if we had the lucky dog rule back in 2004. I don't think we did. And so we would have had to have raced our way back on the lead lap, and that would have made it obviously that much more difficult. But we had one key factor in that race that helped us win the championship was Greg Biffle. He led and dominated all the laps that day. He was a teammate of mine that actually kept Johnson from leading a lap. And so he kept those 5 points away from him and Jeff Gordon as well. And, if we were trying to get a lap back later in the race, Biffle might have slowed up a little bit more than he would have if it was somebody else. He helped us tremendously, and I always try to point that out, that he's been a great friend and a great teammate when I was over there.
Anything else for Kurt? Okay, Kurt, thank you for coming in, and good luck on Sunday.
Great, thank you.